That was fun. Let's watch this trash heap. So for any of you aspiring YouTubers, when you make a tier list, you try not to do this. I actually did a good job of not doing this. I'm going to spoil the final boss because I'm just a dummy and I didn't think anyone would watch this. But you don't want to, if you can, you really try and hide the tier list on being like tier maker or something like that, so people can't just look at it and not watch the video. That's your YouTube tip. You want people to like have to watch it to get it. Just look good for stuff like Baron, not as much. Baron, the healing block really screws up Vessel in that fight. And the constant getting pulled is really bad too. HED's heavy boots. Could you heavy boots, Baron? Are heavy boots just the key to the courtyard, dude? Show tier maker for 5 frames, pretty much. Alright, let's go. Alright, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking it out. We're gonna get to the S tier with our 2 remaining characters. If you just clicked over here to see what this is, more power to you. If you just want to see the results without the explanation, that's fine. I dig it, I get it, I understand, I've done it. But the S tier criteria... I still do it. Even to this day, if I see a tier list for a game that I'm interested in, and someone doesn't clog it up with footage, so I can just mouse over to the end, I will click to the end and look at it, and then just close the video. Unless I'm really curious what they say, then I'll go back. What's up, Ev? About the whole epic quest before the boss fight in Baron? You can use Jessel, and that's fine. Looking at this list just makes you sad. Yeah, the other one's definitely better. Reynolds gonna win in this tier list, Days Volt. It's pretty simple. These are 2 characters that function in any rank, in any situation, in any area. They don't care. They just work wherever they are. The team doesn't have to be built around them. They don't have any required synergies. They don't have any inherent weaknesses. They may... Highwayman's got kind of low damage for damage dealer if he's not getting riposte. He doesn't have like... Highwayman's like base damage is pretty good, but he can't juice it up to ridiculous levels. He can't like crit for 80 like Grave Robber or Hellion or something like that. Highwayman just, you know, he hits for like 20 to 30. But that's good enough, honestly. I gotta move this too. Oops. There we go. I was wondering why my setup seems strange. Actually be overstatted. In the case of the Highwayman, some of his trinkets are just absurdly busted. Highwayman has some crap trinkets outside the CC set. I don't think they're absurdly statted. This is before I really understood like how broken Hellion's stats were defensively. Ooh, almost spilled my keyboard again. I gotta stop doing that. You know, Crusader overstatted with his 3 speed. Insane. Looked at all the level 2 hype train emotes, yo. It's me foreshadowing. Highwayman should be lower since he doesn't have any good stall potential. It's very rare trinkets odd. It's okay. Just the Gunner Highwayman's not as great. The gunpowder is really good. Just a bit expensive. They have good camp skills to boot. And so at the bottom of the S tier is actually the Crusader, which means that this is the best character in the game, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Crusader is pretty ridiculous. So Highwayman's not the best character. Probably Hellion. Ridiculous. 61 HP, that's second to the Leper who has 63. 25 dodge is okay. Lowest speed in the game, I think, at 3. 10 to 19 damage, pretty strong. I was talking about how good their stats are. Lowest speed in the game. Second lowest, or second highest HP, not even highest. Strong, definitely a bruiser type, but overall just a very tanky character, very tough to bring him down. It takes a lot. It takes some focus fire from the enemies, it takes 1 or 2 crits, and then it'll be like... Vessel not S tier. This is something old Shuff and new Shuff agree on. Vessel's not S tier. She's helpful, but she's not required. She doesn't like, she doesn't like dominate the game. Takes 2 heart attacks to kill Crusader, pretty much. That's the only time he goes down is like a heart attack puts him to Death's Door. And then he dies after. Vessel's A at best. I want to put Vessel in B so bad. I'd have everyone coming after me though, except like 6 people. 20 hit points, and he's still really not in danger. In between his solid damage, he has a bunch of support skills that just do a lot of things that help out the team. Specifically his supplemental healing. He's very good in a prolonged battle because of the way Bulwark of Faith works now. And I think his... Why was I talking about Bulwark of Faith? I never used Bulwark of Faith. I didn't really use it back then. I don't use it now. Like, sure, it's okay in a prolonged fight, but like you go through like a 10-round fight with 3 buttons at that point. Holy Lance change actually put him over the top. We'll talk about that when we get to it. His baseline attack of Smite doesn't have any damage bonuses, just hits the first 2 ranks. Has bonus against Unholy, which not the best enemy type, you don't run into it too much, but he doesn't really need to be fighting Unholy to be good. His 10 to 19 serves him just fine. That's Hellion damage. Hellion does some pretty good damage. He's not a crit monster, so a lot of his moves don't have crit, except Holy Lance. So Smite, just solid. Always have it on, just slap things. I'm glad that there's Holy Lance propaganda this early, because Holy Lance is a very good move. But, saw something I wanted to see, or talk about. Do you think it's hard to build a team without Vessel or Cultist? I mean, it can be, but the second part is what we should be focusing on, right? You just need a ton of speed and stuns. Yes, that's why you don't need Vessels, because you can just stack speed on like Plague Doctor or Abomination or something like that, and you'll never need it. Like, Arbalest is a good healer. Flagellant's an amazing healer, but no one uses it. Food can be a good healer. It's not a reliable healer in the game, and the only reliance on healing in the game, you think she's S tier? I mean, you can think that. That's fine. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I'm just talking about my my thoughts. Crusader can kind of replace Vessel, but he needs to be like higher level. Crusader's healing at like 0, 1, and 2 is kind of crap. But it gets better later. Same with Anti. Flagellant best healer, he's very good. A lot of people don't use Flagellant healer. What's up, Beholder? How you doing, man? Yeah, you can run self-heals. Self-heals are fun. Whenever you need to. Zealous Accusation, I call it the Scriptures. Easily his worst attack. Minus 40% instead of 50 is okay for a cleave, but still just bad. I'd rather heal in just about every applicable scenario, and I'm actually surprised. I shouldn't be comparing it to Leper, but Zealous does suck. The specific reason Zealous sucks, it's not even really like the damage mod and stuff, it's the fact it's a range ability. He has no other range skills on his bar, like not even Holy Lance, so having a range ability means this never gets buffed by anything else you want to be doing. This doesn't have bonus damage to Unholy, and even though he has one really bad move, all the rest of his moves are great, so you'll never use Zealous Accusation. Stunning Blow at only half damage penalty, really good. Average stun base at the 100% that goes up to I think 150. Solid. The fact that it's only minus 50% is pretty good. His base damage is high, as we were saying, 10 to 19, so you can just clock someone for like 10 damage. And also has a slightly higher base accuracy than Smite, so it's pretty common to, I feel, use Stunning Blow to clean up kills when they have like 5 HP. Got that right. You don't risk missing or something like that, you just hit him with the stun. Bulwark of Faith, this used to be something you had to refresh per turn, which made it not that good. Now that you can only use it once a battle, that's actually great, because if it's still like a marginal gain for spending an entire ability in an entire turn. You also go last, so your team doesn't get the benefit of this until turn 2. If you're fighting any battle that you expect to go past like turn 5, you can just turn that on like a long boss battle and just have Giant Prot. There you go, you're good. Marking yourself can be a detriment, so if you really want to get around it, you can have... It's actually not bad to mark yourself, because most characters that can mark themselves are tanks, or people that have recovery. Zealous being ranged is why it's in the kit? Explain. Sling Blow is just a better Smite? Who needs Smite when Stunning Blow? Sometimes you need the extra damage and they have like stun immunity. Spice, thanks for the bits, dude. Sub Chef, been watching your bids for a while now. Figured I'd check out a stream, love the content. Yo, I appreciate it. Thank you for the bits, dude. Yeah, like the Zealous doesn't hit like rank 3 and 4. So it really just operates as a melee attack, but it's classified as a range. That's why I don't like it. Yo, Gentle, thanks for following. Planning a Hellion rework? You'll send me a paste bin? Alright, dude. An Arbalest that can clear it, or otherwise just let him tank like you're expecting him to since he's marked. Just be careful, you don't want to use it against things that get bonus damage against marked targets. That's fair. Battle Heal can be used in any rank. It's fair to not want to use it against enemies that get mark synergy, but like that's how he'll tank with it, is the enemy has to have mark synergy, so it wants to go for it. So you really don't want to clear it. So Bulwark is interesting. Like, if the enemy doesn't have Mark synergy, then who cares? But it's not bad. It's just Crusader has other better things to be doing. A really good spot heal if you're in a pinch. My normal loadout is usually
Battle heal's really
Smite, Battle Heal, Holy Lance, and the Inspiring Cry or whatever. I feel that covers a lot of bases. And
Yeah, Wheel's a good place for it.
actually decent enough to where if you give him a healing trinket or two, the Crusader can function as your team's solo healer. You just drop him in rank 3 and he's just this really tough Vestal basically without a group heal. See, that is true. But at the same time, you don't have to put him in rank 3. The benefit of Crusader being able to heal from anywhere is he can be in 1, 4, 2, or 3. The team gets moved around. He doesn't care. He can still heal someone and save them, which is really powerful. What's up, Pansy? Zealous and Hilt sounds fun. You just hit battle heal every turn for, you know, plus 10 or whatever. It's actually pretty good. And the fact he can use it from all 4 ranks just makes it better. So wherever he's at,
True.
he always has access to something that can help the team if need be. The Holy Lance change is the one that pushed him into S tier, I think. Holy Lance used to only hit the last 2 ranks, so 3 and 4. And then I think it got buffed to where it can hit rank 2. And that I think you could Holy Lance out of the front though back then, so it was like early access. I might be wrong, but that makes it like very strange. That just made it way better. It's so consistent now. You don't have to like try and... Comrade's a mod. None of the mods were showing up anymore. I needed someone, dude. So I gave it to Comrade. Use it to snipe someone in the back line. You can actually use it to fix positioning or something if you find yourself in that situation. And there's a pretty funny but actually effective strategy for Holy Lance where you have 2 Crusaders. The one in the 3rd rank has higher speed than the one in the 2nd rank.
Slower
so like you put a
walking.
bracer on the rank 2 Crusader or whatever. And they can just alternate using Holy Lance from rank 3 because they keep switching places with each other. I'm sitting here over explaining a freaking dance team. Like, yeah, you could use a dance team with Holy Lance. That's the end of that statement. But here I am spending 30 seconds explaining this. Can't have the dream job like you. I understand, dude. I appreciate it. Just do Quad Crusader. Why do I have a Vestal 3 Crusaders? I don't know, dude. This was bad shuff. And just keep stabbing everyone in rank 4, 3, and 2. It's surprisingly effective, especially with the bonus crit. I think it's his only attack that has bonus crit. And it's also considered a melee attack, so all the good trinkets that buff his other attacks buff it as well.
This is right.
So between Holy Lance, Battle Heal, and Inspiring Cry, he has a lot of things that he can do if he gets thrown out of position. Whereas the Leper, if the Leper gets thrown to rank 3 or 4, the Leper's usually screwed until someone... Leper gets out of position, so Leper bad. Heard it here first. You mentioned the wall. I never used the wall. Rather have the extra lance, yeah. Think Crusader's a frontliner is cringe. Hey, I'm using him as a Holy Lance. I usually put him in the back now, outside of like certain spots in my file or certain comps. Fixes it, or helps him fix it, or he fixes it himself by moving forward slowly. The beauty of the Crusader is you have this almost unkillable frontliner who can just sit up there smiting and stunning and healing if need be. That can also drop a bunch of support skills
Nice,
or
good
big
crit.
damage if he gets thrown in the back. Like, he has no weakness in positioning. There's no
Don't click.
bad spot for this character ever. You can almost use a one-size-fits-all build and it just works. You know, in the immortal words of King Crimson, it's just
JoJo
always good.
references.
He doesn't need to be fighting Unholy to be good. That's the other thing. His niche is the Unholy, but even outside of the runes, he does great damage, incredibly tanky, good in all spots, Inspiring Cry.
Yeah, Crusader's
really
good anyway.
Stress healer. The fact that it heals on top of that, just heals flat HP is really good too. So the Crusader's moveset just mixes solid damage output with ridiculous survivability on top of a lot of supportability and healing and stuff like that. And the good part is he only has like a core 2 or 3 moves that you really need, like Smite, and I would say maybe Holy Lance if you really wanted to, and then Inspiring Cry. And then you can just put whatever for move 4, and your Crusader will always be effective. Okay, so I was... Not much opinion has changed between old Shuff and new Shuff on Crusader. I feel like I don't know if I just got it right or what, but I feel like maybe I just had a decent handle on this character back then. I mean, look at this, dude. This is just with a candle. Just, whoa. He has some really good camp skills. You can cure mortality debuffs. It's all stress management. Minus 25% stress for 2 points. Really good. Way better than Pep Talk at its minus 10 or 15 or whatever it is. Zealous Speech, the only 5-point camping skill in the game, but it is in fact a great one. Take 15 stress off everyone, and then also give them minus percentage stress for the rest of the, or for 4 battles. Really good. And then in a pinch, if you really need it, he has a nighttime ambush preventer. So the reason Zealous Speech is insane is this is like 16 camp points worth of stuff for 5. Which is still solid because he can lower his own stress, so surprisingly good stress healer. It's weird, you don't think of him as a stress healer. But then you compare it to like Jester's, every rose has its thorn. And all it does is target him for an extra 2. Compared to Jester's, it's more fair. So it's like, what's actually out of bounds in terms of strength? Is it Zealous Speech or is it Jester? Might be Jester. Right, he has the ability to heal hit points. He can do some good damage. He's a tank. His stress healing is probably his second biggest facet. It might be his most underrated quality. I don't know, because whenever I look at the Crusader, I'm going, okay, bruiser, hits hard, doesn't die. Actually has a 2 times 4 is 16. You get 2 skills. You get Encourage, you get Pep Talk on everyone. That's 4 characters. That's 4 times 4. Goodness. Crusader's slow, and characters like Houndmaster and Jester are better stress healing. It's obviously the second worst character in the game. True, you're right. Who thinks camp stress healing is worthless? I mean, I don't value like tasting cup, but I don't think that camp stress healing is worthless. Like camping is so good. That's what makes being able to camp and stress heal is what makes medium missions better than short missions. Like that alone, not just the loot and stuff like that. And Nicole doesn't like Zealous Speech specifically. Saying might be slow AF, but at least he's a cool looking knight. He does look pretty cool. Stress heal on ambush. Prevention makes your neurons activate. Yeah. Because you could just stall. I mean, you can do anything, but sometimes accidents happen, right? Sometimes you're trying to stall and you crit the thing. What's up, Deku? Momentous, thanks for following. I'll have the game remove short missions. That would actually be a buff. Might be a little bit harder for new players for some reason, because I think they just don't feel comfortable with camping and having to deal with like that many battles. But like once you get used to stalling and stuff like that, medium missions are definitely supreme. Ambush prevention is bad because ambushes are free loot. I'm not quite there yet. Like I definitely agree for the most part, but I've had ambushes screw me up. Sometimes you want to stall because not all the team comps are good for it. Also true. Bunch of stress healing. His vanilla trinkets are okay. Both of his, well, I shouldn't say both. The defender seal's not that good. I sat here and talked about how good this character was, and he has like stats that are weaker than other characters in a lot of places. His trinkets are crap. Well, they're not crap actually. His trinkets are pretty solid. Defender seal sucks. Knight's Crest is okay. Like these are almost comparable, except this doesn't give you minus crit. Sword Crest is pretty good low level because his healing is just garbage anyway. So it's just 10% damage basically. Paralyzer's Crest is nuts. This is 20 stun for 2 dodge. Like this just doesn't exist. Commander's Orders, this is how you get like Healing Crusader mid game and late game. And then Holy Orders is sell on sight. 5 prot for 3 crit, not a great trade. Knight's Crest 10% HP, pretty good, sign me up, especially at a common trinket. Swordsman's Crest, pretty good early. Hold up. Spicy, thanks for the tier 1, dude. Glad you're enjoying it. Totally know that feeling of getting back into DD after barely putting time into it. And sometimes you do feel you don't want to risk people or take people into a medium dungeon because they're low levels and upgrades. See, I understand that. Spend a biscuit and all spiders are dead. Biscuits do be helping. Holy Orders is free gold, exactly. Just 10% damage, really nice. Paralyzing Crest, the bonus stun for basically no penalty, like minus 2 dodges, whatever. Pretty good at all levels. Commander's Orders really Amazing.
Opens up his ability to heal, so if you want to go solo Crusader healing, or if you just want him to be like that kind of healer supplemental role, you're going to be using this. You can put this and then one other healing trinket on him, like a Ancestor Scroll or whatever, and then he has some respectable single target healing numbers. I would probably use it over the Occultist for single healing. And then we have this other situation where the orange level trinket is probably, it's not the worst one. The Defender Seal is the worst one, but the Holy Order is not that good. You trade some resists, which are very helpful, for Deathblow resist, which is pretty good, but he's usually the last.
Holy Orders might be the worst trinket he has. This does something at least.
Last one to die. The minus 20 stress doesn't really matter that much considering he has a bunch of stress healing, but it's still okay. And then you have this tug of war going on where you have minus stress but then plus virtue chance, which I don't understand why they do that, because if you have a bonus to virtue, you kind of want to get stress, so you don't want to be healing stress. Like, this item just clashes with itself. It's
Defender Seal's alright. Is it better than Holy Orders? Because that's kind of where I'm at, is like, this is better than this thing now. But I don't know.
Giving you virtue but lowering stress. It's giving you death blow but making it easier to die because you take
plus
minus
virtue
resist
chance
to damage over time effects. And I'm not saying every trinket has to have just all winning stats and be super optimized, but this thing's all over the place, which is why I don't like it. I like his Crimson Court set a lot. It really solidifies his tanking role, makes him pretty hard to move from wherever he's at, gives him a lot of defenses, gives him a bonus to all his healing and stress healing abilities, and then on top of his bonus prot, he gets 20% HP, which really helps scale it if you can understand like the mathematics. But prot gets better the more hit points you have, so giving him a bonus 20% HP on top.
If you understand the mathematics, I really didn't go into a tangent explaining this for once. My god. I must have been tired. I think I recorded all 3 of these in the same day. And it took me like 3 weeks to put them together. But I recorded all 3 of these in the same day, and it was in the middle of summer, so I remember just being sweating and dying at this point.
Top of his already ridiculous HP is pretty good, and the only trade-off for this whole set is minus 2 speed, and he's already the slowest character in the game, so who cares?
Censored.
The Shard Hilt is pretty good. You get more tankiness, you get some bonus stun and all that, extra damage in the form of Blight if it actually lands, at the weird detriment of being able to randomly target a character, which isn't too bad. It's only a pain in the ass when you're trying to finish something off and it specifically does it, but that's only a 5% chance to happen. So it's pretty rare that this screws you, but it gives you a bunch of stuff in return for that, so I think it's actually really good. 200 shard cost means the devs also thought this was a pretty good item. Overall, the Crusader is this really good bruiser, a mix of solid damage, ridiculous survivability, respectable healing and stress healing, great camp skills, and a very versatile character that...
What plebeian messaged me on Discord? Probably a friend. This is back when my channel was much smaller, so I only had like friends talking to me. Watched this video earlier. It's designed for zealous spam, maybe it is.
Can almost use the same moveset, and it just depends where he lands, if there's a surprise or something like that. So the couple buffs he did get, like Holy...
Although it is funny to think about the sword hilt being the most optimal trinket for the paper range attack. I'm not saying it isn't, it's just, that's funny to think about.
Lance really did put him over the top, and maybe that's what was supposed to happen, because when you start the game, you get a Crusader and a Highwayman, so maybe Red Hook was trying to purposely make those 2 characters really good. Either way, Crusader is always one of those classes where when I don't have one, or if I'm starting a new playthrough and I only have 1 or 2 on deck, and I can't use either of them, I actually feel bad. Plus, I love the whole aesthetic of the Templar and Deus Volts and all that, so I really like Crusaders and Paladins and that kind of thing, which just adds to the flavor and my love of this class. Alright, it's time to crown our champion, the Highwayman, the best character. There's a lot to talk about for this character and why it's so absurd that it even exists in this iteration. As we've been doing, we're just going to start with his fantastic stats.
Here I'm spoiling.
Pretty good. 43 HP, very
Here's
respectable,
Countess.
more than enough. 7 speed, still pretty good. He gets speed from a lot of other sources, that's why it's okay that it's 7. 9% base crit, really good. 9 to 16 damage, that's higher than everyone that is not your actual bruiser frontliner types, like the Hellion and the Leopard and the Crusader. For some reason, he's 9 to 16 when the Bounty Hunter, I believe, is 8 to 16, so they just gave the Highwayman an extra damage. He's very mobile.
Point blank still bad. Kind of a trap. I wouldn't say it's bad, but you have better stuff. Oops. Falling off late game. I know, dude. I think at this point in this video, you could not repost Love Letter or whatever, but I didn't know that, and I still brought Highwayman. Vestal in background. Look. The thing you should be most upset about here is that there are no boots. There are no heavy boots on this team. Although, this is another high brain strategy that most peasants won't be able to understand. And that's the stunning. We're going to try and stun her in the second phase where stun resist goes down to actually lock her in it. TBS is mainly to get out of 1. It's big damage if you can, you know, not run into prot. Yeah, I didn't know the Tim strat at this point.
With his base movement of 2 forwards and 2 backwards.
I was so mad here because Flagellant refused the bolster, which, you know, that's the battle buff.
He can get wherever he wants to at any time. And then not only are his moves incredible, a lot of his trinkets are also absurd. I start at the top of the list with Wicked Slice. I don't understand the thinking behind this. For some reason, it just has a bonus 15% damage on top of what it normally has. It has a 5 crit modifier, which is pretty good. So where most characters have either a conditional damage bonus, such as the Grave Robber, the Crusader...
Think you think there was no Tim strat back then?
Affected by Blight or Unholy, Wicked Slice is just plus 15% damage at all times. Here you go, have fun, hell yeah. Pistol Shot can use it from almost any spot to hit almost any spot. Minus 15% damage, small penalty. Giant crit modifier.
This turns it into like Sniper Shot with no bonuses. But here we are dumping on Arbalest 7 to 14 damage.
There it is. Bonus damage against marked? Sure, have that too. I'm the Highwayman, I just cover all my bases. I synergize with anyone that you want to put in the team. Point blank shot, pretty accurate, the 95%.
Why am I talking like this? Like I was on something at this point. I think I was just in a delirious state after recording for 3.5 hours.
Base accuracy, has its own crit modifier, plus 50% damage. Has natural synergy with one of my other moves that moves me up to the front at all times, or if someone wants to move themselves back and
Speaking as I am Dismas.
So it's pretty cool to duelist advance up to the front, get your riposte going, and then crit point blank shot someone for 45 damage and just wipe them out. And then you're just riposting the rest of the fight. And then on the off chance they survive and can knock them back 1 extra space, so he can move back up and shoot someone else in the face the next, or 2 turns later. Grape Shot Blast, actually his worst move, but hold on. Even though it has the minus...
I think you're free to light me up with the Grape Shot hate. Oh my god, is this worse than tracking? I don't think so. I mean, tracking's pretty solid. This might still be the worst one. Or it could be Wicked Slice, I don't know.
His crit on the minus damage.
Could be Pistol Shot. Pistol Shot's
a debuff that makes it so everyone else takes crits received. It didn't need this. It hits 3 people by default. But sure, let's give him a crit debuff so we can just kill them faster, which makes Grape Shot spamming actually viable. Or if you want to do Grape Shot and Breakthrough and Impale and all those multi-hitting attacks. There
you go, Cleave strats. What about Duel's Advance and Hellion's Adrenaline Rush? Adrenaline? Why adrenaline? What even is the point of base damage as a stat if all damage is modified of the base damage? Good question. Can stall with Grape Shot. The rank 1 Grape Shot stall. Still stuck in Adsville, you're not missing anything. Old Chef making Grape Shots sound OP. Oh my god, turn it off. Grape Shot actually good, or is this a mean Grape Shots? Grape Shot's alright. It's not. No, I'm not. No. For damage and accuracy buffs, since Hellion will be in slot 2, not 1. Doesn't matter what Hellion's doing? You're just gonna duelist into point blank? I see what you mean. So like Hellion buffs up and then you point blank and shove her back into 1. That's interesting. Grape Shot feels good when you don't focus any enemies and you clean up 3 at 1, or yeah, once 4 turns after they should have died.
There you go, it's right there. And it's funny that his worst move is still good. That just adds to the power level of this character. Tracking Shot, for some reason, removes stealth. I mean, it's in the name, Tracking Shot. Can use it from any rank. So in case something goes wrong, if you just have it on randomly, party gets shuffled. He gets thrown to the 4 slot. You know, let me just Tracking Shot randomly to buff myself for the rest of the battle. Gives me accuracy, crit, and damage. I'll never need it.
Yeah, Tracking Shot is definitely better than Grape Shot. Just looking at these stats, like if a boss fight goes like 8 turns, this is a lot of damage.
Anything else, it's like a free set of trinkets or whatever for 1 move, and you can get by for the rest of the fight with some combination of Duelist Advance, maybe his Pistol Shot, and then a melee skill. So any...
Why did I not move Flagellant all 3 spaces? I put him in 2?
Time the fight's gonna go past turn 5, definitely tracking shot. Then there's Duelist Advance, which doesn't even have that big of a penalty at the -20, and then in turn you get to riposte the whole time, and as I was saying before, naturally synergizes with point blank shots, so turn 1 you can advance from the second slot up to the front, point blank shot, and then go back and then Duelist Advance again, or spend a turn using one of his other absurdly powerful moves. It can hit the first 3 people. I want to say this could hit the 4th when they first changed it. It made it even worse. When I say worse, I mean more absurd, but it's still incredibly good. As
look at this riposte value. My god, I've never seen so much in my life. Just riposte critting over and over. Oh, is that tracking shot now? Tracking shot would be a good move if it marked. Be a bit overloaded at that point. Yes, action economy. I tried solo flagellant runs before. No, I haven't. If so, how does it actually work? Because it's always a mystery. Back in the day, flagellant could spam like exsanguinate and stuff like that and not die. So he was able to stay alive that way. And you can still do solo flagellant runs. You just have to be a little more creative. It is slow. Our post got nerfed.
It is now. And it's not even just the fact that a riposte does respectable damage and all that. It's one of those things where, since he can use it from almost anywhere, if the team gets screwed up, he can fix his own positioning, or he can help the team fix their positioning by...
So this is the biggest strength of Highwayman, is that he's never out of position. He has a decent damage option no matter where he ends up. That is the strength of the class, as compared to other damage dealers. But his damage is kind of like mid by comparison. Like his damage potential is mid, but his damage consistency is probably the best.
Putting himself in a different spot. So if your
except maybe Hellion
Vessel gets pulled up to rank 2, he can Duelist Advance, and all of a sudden she's in rank 3 because he's gonna be faster than her. And then there's Open Vein. If you have someone else on the team that can bleed, or if you don't want to use Wicked Slice, there's Open Vein, which has a small damage penalty in exchange for doing some really good respectable bleed damage, and also for some reason adds a debuff on top of it. What does that debuff do, Shuffle? Well, it actually lowers their bleed resist, which is pretty common for some of the other bleeding moves, but also lowers their speed for some reason. For some reason. It makes sense with the name, Open Vein. You just slice someone's whatever open, their veins on their arms, their legs, or whatever.
Slice their whatever open? You mean their veins? On their arms or their legs or their body where veins like to be? I'm looking at my veins right now. I got veins everywhere.
So I understand why they'd slow down, but mechanically it didn't need that. It already does good damage, he already does good damage, so now you're just lowering speed and synergizing with anyone else that's trying to bleed. So you're just really screwing up the enemies for free with a almost all-in-one move. It's really good. And the biggest reason why the Highwayman occupies the S tier is because he makes every other rogue type almost unimportant.
Wrong and dumb. Very wrong and dumb. I think Open Vein and DD2 should like daze the enemy. That'd be nice. It'd be pretty good if it could do that, but daze is a fun mechanic. We can't lower their speed. I guess you could give them a speed debuff. I don't know, we gotta complain to Red Hook. The hell's the yellow coin? Who said these things? Me. Apparently, old me. Wrong and dumb indeed.
The Grave Robber can get away with being a sniper, and Lunge can crit for some absurd damage, but outside of the...
Grave Robber actually snipes about as well as Highwayman. They are very comparable in terms of, like, shooting damage output, except Grave Robber gets poison darts, which is useful in some other situations.
Support skills of like the Houndmaster, which there's only a couple that you can even qualify. Like his stun is okay. His
Houndmaster stun is very good. What are you doing?
His guard is clutch sometimes, and then his stress heal is actually pretty good. The Highwayman just puts out more damage. Doesn't need a dog treat. And also the Houndmaster is less tanky than the Highwayman, so he makes him kind of obsolete. Way better than the Bounty Hunter.
Dude, I just want to end the stream and like crawl into the shower and cry.
I feel like you don't have to have the setup of marking someone and then the reliance on RNG critting someone, and your base damage is lower as the Bounty Hunter, so the Highwayman just puts out more damage. It really just trumps the Bounty Hunter in just about every possible way, which is actually why the Caltrops change to the Bounty Hunter was a saving grace. But even then, that's not enough to ever really take him over the Highwayman, I feel. Unless you're specifically trying to go for a mark comp, but that's it. That's all the Bounty Hunter has over the Highwayman is marking, which, as we've discussed over this entire video, marking is probably the worst worst offensive strategy out of the many that exist.
Stop the count, dude. Oh, stop. Oh my god. Oh, this is so bad.
This, you know, if you have your damage over time, I would say marking is better than just raw damage, where you just slap things with no benefit, you know, just flat damage. But otherwise, damage over time is better. Heavy control with stuns and movement is better.
Heavy controls and stuns? You mean like Bounty Hunter?
Who has 2 freaking stuns, dude?
Who I said freaking Highwayman was better than because of the damage? Oh, you idiot!
And marking just falls to this like distant third spot. But that's me getting sidetracked. We're talking about the Highwayman and his complete absurdity in this video game. Camp skills, just hit 1. They're all winners. Gallows humor still pretty good. It's the
True,
same
actually,
one as
they're all good.
Robber. Are you going to melee build? Unparalleled finesse. Are you even caring about melee? Right?
Learn from our mistakes, we do. It's really fun to meme on myself. Bounty Hunter has 110 base stun. It's just on flashbang, right? But that's still amazing. Forgive me, thank you. Highwayman better, Bounty Hunter needs more, obviously. If only Bounty Hunter had something like literally 2 stuns that can just control the entire fight the entire time. What's up, Django? His camp skills are very good. Highwayman's probably got the best set of 4 camp skills in terms of like what he wants to do, which is kill things quickly, but then he has like support stuff too. Gallows is really good. And then Bandit Sense is, you know, a great anti-ambush. Yeah, BHS stuns, definitely. Everyone has better utility than Dismas? For the most part, yes. I guess yes, actually. I'm trying to think of like someone who doesn't. Like even Hellion has a double stun and a self heal so she can stall. She's got better damage projection. And she has Revel. Killing's a permastun. So sad when they gave DD2 Highwayman non-damaging moves. Take aim's amazing, to be fair.
You could just have riposte and a bunch of ranged attacks like point blank shot. Still pretty good. Boost your riposte, gives you 10 dodge, gives you 2 speed, really good.
I'm doing that thing again.
Clean guns works for point blank shot, so if you just needed to hit even harder with that move, there you go, pistol.
Old Shuff overvaluing point blank quite a lot.
And point blank shot, buffed, grape shot if you actually give a crap, all pretty good. The only negatives to his camp skills is that they're all actually 4 points. I didn't think about that until I was reading just now. I went, oh wow, they're all 4 points. So that is something against him.
Clean gun should be 3.
Probably one flaw that I could pick out is the fact all his camp skills are 4 points, and 2 of the 4 of them only benefit him, but he's your damage dealer. So putting down 4 points to just give yourself 20% extra damage and a bunch of crit and all that is never bad. It's a good investment. It's better than a lot of the other self damage boosting skills. Like if we consider the Hellion, she has a conditional 25% damage boost for
this is before I understood that Highwayman drops off late game.
3 points. She doesn't get any bonus accuracy or bonus crit. The Bounty Hunter has plus 15 accuracy and some damage bonus.
Every time I talk about Bounty Hunter and compare him to Highwayman, you need to shout at your monitor that Bounty Hunter has 2 stuns.
And it's conditional. It has to be a large enemy. And then we get to Bandit Sense, which is tied for the same one that the Houndmaster has as the best nighttime ambush preventer, because you have the surprise chance.
I forgot to speed this video up and no one told me.
Modifier, which is fantastic. Easily worth 4 points every single time. All of his trinkets, really good in some form or another. Even the lower level ones, which I don't find.
Nope. Lower level trinkets kind of suck. Like flash fires, whatever. This one's okay. That's 5 crit, but 5 crit's kind of meh. This is actually okay. Maybe they're decent. They're decent. They're definitely better low level options. Like a Warrior's Cap just craps on all 3 of these. But we're not talking about that. 4 dodge, 10 trap disarm is actually helpful. Dodgy Sheath is surprisingly better for like riposte builds. And Sharpening Sheath's pretty good. Buckles kind of sucks just because range Highwayman kind of sucks.
Find myself using too often. The 4 dodge on the Drifter's Buckle, pretty good. Trap Disarm, always helps. Minus 5% stress heal, no one cares at common level. You know, you're only stress healing like 5 to 8 at a time, it's not a big deal. Plus with how easily he kills things, he's never gonna be stressed out. He's gonna be the one getting all the stress taken off from killing stuff. Flashfire Gunpowder, 10% bonus damage for basically nothing. On your range attacks, no one cares about stun resist. He's not really gonna get hit too often, but then also stun is one of the least common attack types. There's only a few enemies that have them. By the time you're running into them, like the high-level skeletons or the Crimson Court Chevalier, I think he's got the one on the rock with the pincers or whatever that does stun and bleed and stuff like that. By the time you're fighting those, you have other trinkets that you're gonna be using. So stun not common in the 0 to 2 range. Stalwart Buckle, 5%
I don't actually talk this
5%
fast.
crit. Sign me up. Minus virtue, 3%. Not that big a deal. Who cares? Dodgy Sheath, probably his worst trinket. Minus 10 accuracy for range does kind of hurt, and all you get in return is 8 dodge, which is solid. And then 1 speed, also really good. So if you want to go like a melee heavy build, you can definitely use this. The Sharpening Sheath, really good, but it's coming at a time when you start finding other trinkets. Like you're starting to kill bosses that give you orange trinkets that you can use.
I'm set stream to 1.5. Okay, dude.
They're probably better than this, but if you're going open veins and like riposte, this is still really good. 1 speed is your only trade-off for almost unbeatable bleed chance, unless they're skeletons, and then plus 7% crit out of nowhere. A really fat crit buff, really good. And then there's the Gunslinger's Buckle, which is definitely better if you're using open veins and riposte, because those aren't so much about the flat damage they hit for, more than the effects that they do. And in return, you just put your range damage. I don't agree with it, but I see it. Roof. So Gunslinger Buckle, really good. Really good to get early, especially. And we have the Crimson Court set.
Nope. Gunslinger Buckle, really good. Nope. Really good to get early. Nope. Nope. Just nope. Don't do it.
Single best Crimson Court set in the entire game, and it's not even close.
Not even close. I don't know. Arb's got a pretty, like, Arb and Musk have insane Crimson Court sets. They're really good. Vestal's actually pretty good. Flagellance is okay. Bounty Hunters is pretty solid. Houndmaster might be the best CC set. Houndmaster set is insane. Outside of Endless, but those are the ones I can think of off the top.
The Neckerchief by itself, 2 speed, 10 dodge, very handy. I would use
I'm
that
solid, I'll trust you.
The Shameful Locket, 10 accuracy, 5 crit, unconditional, supports both builds.
Grave Robber.
And you're sitting there, shuffle, wait a minute, 15.
Dude, I could almost consider Grave Robbers better just with Letter Opener. Like, I would rather run nothing than put Absinthe on. And I could say that that set's actually like in the top half. Anti-set is really good. I'll agree with that. Lepers, I haven't used Lepers enough. I'm not the biggest expert on it. I like anti-set. I think anti-set is one of the best. It's like no downsides and it gives her everything. That's really good. Hi man, CC is set kind of good together. It's definitely one of the best for sure. You think Vestal is coming back in DD2? Not yet. I don't expect to see her. But if she does come back, then she'll have to be much different. Letter Opener and Raider's Talisman is her CC set, pretty much. Like, Letter Opener and Raiders is insane together. Or are insane together. Or else CC set is legendary, I have to get it. Grave Robber set could end at Opener, and we'd be better for it, yes? Yes, we would. Where's DD2 on the roadmap? They're heading into Update 2. Anti-CC set just combines all 4 of our best trinkets, yes?
Percent stress, that's pretty big, and it's like, yeah, that is kind of big, but also remember, as we said before, this character is the one killing pretty much 2 out of 4 enemies, maybe 3 or 4, who knows, usually killing about 2
This
or 3
is cringe,
enemies.
dude. Got a freaking Death Store on turn 7 with Vestal. Maybe I just let him go down, I wasn't paying attention. I might have let him, like, hit Death Store so I could sang.
Every single battle by himself, so that 15 stress doesn't come into play that often.
Glad I did it, look at that, dude.
Also, stress attacks usually hit the backliners, not so much the frontliners, so it's very negligible. And then, on top of it, you have plus 45% virtue chance if you have both of them. Your base chance for virtue is 25%. This puts you to 70%. I was about to say 75. This puts you to 70% base virtue bonus, which means you almost have a 2 in 3 chance of going virtuous every single time. And how we were talking before about...
Closer to 2 and 3 or 3 and 4? Probably like by 1% closer to 2 and 3.
Moves that clash, or trinket buffs that clash with each other, like when we were talking about the Crusader.
Crit 9?
This doesn't.
I know you're memeing, but that's a 45-point bleed! Going for Martyr Trinket strats, that must have been it. She gets like 40 prot in this form, by the way, so I was not going to do a lot of damage. She doesn't get nervous stab accuracy, and she doesn't get the HP from Candle. But yeah, it gives her pretty much everything.
Having a bonus 15% stress gain on top of the bonus virtue chance.
That's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see Flagellant use Xang and they get straight back down to Death's Door that like the same turn, because that's when he's in like big danger of dying.
With itself, you're pushing him to virtue faster with this setup, so there's no wasted stat on this set. It buffs every single playstyle that he has, and on the off chance there's a bunch of stress going on, he actually has a chance to go virtuous, which is the equivalent of Super Saiyan. This is a trinket set that if you ever find it early, like if you're doing a Blood Moon run and you
do it, Dad.
can actually put it together, depending on the missions, it just puts the Highwayman so far ahead of any other class. It is absurd how strong this set is together.
I think what hurts me the most is that I'm so certain with how I'm talking. Like, I am so sure that what I'm saying is correct at this point. It's not. That's what hurts.
Like, I would even go so far as to say, regular Highwayman S tier, Highwayman with Crimson Court set, double S. It would be his
Super Saiyan 2 Highwayman.
His own tier of strength and absurdity. Easily the best damage dealer in the entire game. As we were saying before with our other criteria, he doesn't need anyone to help him do it. He doesn't have any gimmicks, like he doesn't need Mark, he doesn't need Blight, he doesn't need Bleed. He doesn't need someone to pull them into his range. He can hit wherever he wants most of the time.
I think raises a good point. Ew. If we had like Leper with like the heavy boot strat, she'd be dead. Like she's at half HP. This is how much damage this character falls behind, or how much damage you lose by not running Tims on this fight.
And then his base stats are godlike. His base damage is higher than most other rogue types and damage dealers in the game, second to only like the couple bruisers that exist. I just cannot get over how well statted and put together this character is in terms of his set and his other trinkets and stuff. It just makes him really good, to the point where if I had a choice, I would have my various support classes, my various tanks and stuff like that, and then I would have like 4 Highwaymen. I don't need any other rank 2 character besides Highwayman. Alright, now that I gushed about that set for, I don't know, like 5 minutes, the Crystal...
You did talk about it too long.
It's pretty good. Flat 20 damage, plus 3 speed, stun resist, we said before, is negligible. So this supplements any other...
I don't know, dude. Stun resist is not negligible because stun is very devastating to get hit by. So it's not negligible. Like, Countess has stun.
Build he has, like, there's, for as good as the Crimson Court set is, you can definitely make use out of something like the Crystal Gunpowder and then like a Sun Ring or a Moon Ring if you're, depending on your light level, you know? But it's just good. It just buffs everything he's trying to do, which is just flat damage. And I really can't say enough about this character. It's, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it. In my opinion, this is the best character in the game by far, because as we all like to do things like support and tank and all that in this game, at the end of the day, you have to kill the monsters. That is the whole point. You have to kill the monsters in the fights to win the game. And
so this point is still true. This is what I tell people, and they say like this and that is better or worse or whatever. I always tell them like you do have to kill monsters. Like you have to kill enemies to win this game. So that's why this always comes up when I talk about using Judgment with Vessel and stuff, and why I don't use Sacred Scroll. Everyone's like, well, she just heals. Why do you care about losing 33% damage? It's because everyone has to help with damage in this game. This isn't like other games. Like, this is something I had to learn when I was playing Battle Brothers, is you don't need everyone to do damage in that game. It helps, but not everyone has to. It's the opposite in Darkest Dungeon. Everyone has to do damage to make fights easier. And Highwayman being pure damage does make him... That made me value him more than I probably should have.
Highwayman is hands down the best damage dealer and the most versatile, so if you ever need someone to do damage,
Courage is rank 3 or 4
just like the Crusader, where there are a lot of times where I'm going into a run and I go, you know, instead of the Leper or instead of the Hellion or instead of the Shield Breaker, I wish I had a Crusader right here. Like, a Crusader would be so good right here in this moment in time. The same thing happens with the Highwayman. Like, you can almost do any mission in the game without huge risk of failure by having the core of Crusader, Highwayman, and Vestal. They're very simple to play, but they just do so well with their base kits. That's why they're rated so highly, in my opinion. Alright, and that's going to do it for our tier list. Appreciate all of you for sticking it out and watching it. I'm sure it's going to be long. I haven't done any editing yet, obviously, but just the recording alone of audio and takes and stuff like that, it was about 5 hours worth of me talking, and it took about 3 days. I also did...
This is 5 hours of talking? I must have split these up over a couple days. I thought I did it all in one shot. So it's about... about 2.5 hours of video. Why was it 5 hours of talking? I must have screwed up a few times. And this is what made it in. My god.
Like background footage and stuff like that. So again, I appreciate your viewership and sticking out, listening to
Another
me
time it's about to
talk about stuff like Highwayman's absurd trinket.
Yeah, do I need to figure out the rest of this? No. I don't. Why? The video's over. I spent another 3 minutes talking. Alright, I'm out of this crap, dude. Get me out of here.